actually still beat him back up before the race is finished. So, use this cannon to get back up. You're not actually supposed to use cannons during the race, but after the race doesn't matter. As you can see, I basically just beat Koopa up here twice, although only one of them was really good in it. Alright, nice. You have 1 frame to make an input there, so I went for a jump, which allows me to collect the star just a few frames earlier. Alright, so now I'm going to be doing the 100-coin star, and once again, I'm going to be pairing it with the red coins. And this star is very RNG heavy, so the position of enemies and the trajectory of coins that come out of enemies in boxes is entirely RNG dependent. And in this star you kill a lot of enemies and spawn a lot of coins, so it's very easy to just have coins flying all over the place. So I'm going to get the shell here, combined with the wing cap to make moving around here a little bit quicker and easier. I'm going to have the wing cap here because there's a lot of coins in the air that I can get. So I'm going to try to enter this cannon with somewhere around... okay, this should be a pretty good number. Alright, so 50 coins is actually a pretty good number. I want at least 8 more out of the air, but I'm going to try to aim for as many as I can get. Alright, so I'm going to do another turnaround here and grab just a few more coins, hopefully. Alright, 65 is actually a really good number for me. Oh, that nearly was catastrophic. I'm actually going to be able to, so I'm actually going to get all 4 pulls, but I don't need the box or any Goombas, and I can actually afford to miss points in the pulls here. And I'm going to afford to miss 2, because I just got that Goombas coin. So if you run around these pulls 4 times within a certain time limit, you can get 5 points from them. I actually am going to go for something that not many runners go for, called double star activation, where I'm basically going to try to trigger both the 100 coin star and red coin star cutscenes on the same frame. It's RNG dependent and frame perfect. I might have a shot here. Dang it. I was a little too early there. Yeah, if you delay the 100th, if you grab the red coin and then the final red coin, then grab your 100th coin a few frames later, you can get both of them to start on the same frame and they will play at the same time, which could save a few seconds if you get good RNG, but unfortunately I didn't time it properly. It's kind of a cool thing to go for. Alright, so now I have 2 more stars here, and they're both... I'm basically going to do the same thing for both of them. So this is a trick called Sky Jump, which allows me to skip having to use the cannon to get to the floating island here. So I'm going to use the AV kicking trick to get up the slope, and then use horizontal speed from that slope to get enough height to make it to the floating island. You need the speed from that slope to get the height in order to reach the island there. Try to get all 5 of these before cannon shot. Nice. So Mario kind of veered off to the left there. Mario's yaw velocity can get stored in between flights. Yaw is one of 3 ways you can rotate a 3-dimensional object, or pitch and roll. And he does have a yaw velocity variable that can get stored between flights, so you want to try to have as minimal of an angle change between those 2 flights as possible. But thankfully I was able to cover that pretty easily. So I'm going to do that same thing again, but this time for the star that's actually on the island. Oh, I unfortunately messed that up. But the good news is I have the cannon here, which will provide me a pretty quick and easy backup. Right, this shell up. Alright. Took a little bit of time to set that up. So that's it for Bob on Battlefield. And there are other stages remaining in the lobby, but I am actually going to head down to the basement now. And the basement is widely regarded as one of the hardest parts of 120 Star. 2 of the stages in this basement are very difficult to do, And there's a lot of really easy tricks that you can fail or and have to reset on. But first we get to catch mips here, which actually isn't that hard. There we go. So coming up next is Shipping Sand Lane. I'm going to be going for a trick called Colorless right from at the start, which is kind of an extension of the bomb clip you saw earlier, combined with a glitch known as the hands-free glitch to allow me to get the bob bomb all the way to the top of the pyramid and then push me inside the pyramid. Let's see if I can get this. Alright, so now I have the bob bomb in hands-free, which means I can double jump and ground pound without dropping it. And this top of the pyramid is a separate entity from the rest of the pyramid, which means I can just ground pound through it and enter the pyramid from the top without needing to stand on the pillars. And that allows me to get that star a lot quicker. So I made that look easy, but it's not easy at all. It takes a lot of practice to get down. Alright, so for this next star, I'm going to try to bounce off a fly guy to enter a twirl and then nam klepto in midair. Unfortunately, fly guys are rather easily manipulatable, as long as you know how they work. There we go. So next I'm going to do the red coin star. This star has actually been rerouted several times within the past couple of years. I'm going to do the, like, old new route, which is not the fastest route by any means, but it's pretty easy to do, and looks pretty neat. This movement at the start is really cool if I can get it. Nice. So when you slide kick, you actually maintain about 90% of the speed you had going into the slide kick, so that's a pretty useful way to extend your speed over a large distance. That's actually the only time you'll see me do that in this run. So here I'm going to grab this red coin and grab the one in that pond over there and hopefully put the one on my way here. And I'm going to try to grab the other 3 red coins on the flight. I'm going to clip a double jump at the top of that pillar. How is that flying all the way up there? I clipped a double jump at the top of that pillar there to be able to start my triple jump a little bit quicker. And so these top, so since I did this level pretty well, these top spots should be really good positions for me. That was a really good race. That was really good. So next I'm going to go for the star where you fight SRRROC. This is actually the star you're supposed to stand on top of the 4 pillars for, and then ride the elevator from the top of the pyramid. But I'm actually going to enter the bottom of the pyramid and try to enter the hole without riding the elevator. And I'm going to go for a trick called Topless, where you basically do a precise wall kick and then hold back and ledge grab into the hole. This is actually pretty precise. And I got it. It actually takes quite a bit of work to set up. So on the English version of the game, this is 10 text boxes, but on the Japanese version it's only 2. But again, text scrolls faster in this version anyways. So SRRROC is a pretty simple boss. You just gotta hit each of the hands in the eye 3 times and the fight's over. Gotta make sure you don't miss any hits, or else you lose a lot of time if they start doing extra stuff. Alright, so up next is the 100 coin star. There aren't actually enough coins outside of the pyramid in order to combine this with the red coin star, and you can't leave the pyramid once you enter it. So I'm actually going to be combining this with the pyramid puzzle, the secret star. And once again, there is quite a bit of RNG in this star. That flag I did not do what I wanted to do. That wasn't too bad. I was able to react to that. So here I'm going to grab the wing cap, and now I'm on a timer because I want to get everything done out here before this wing cap runs out. Fortunately, you do have quite a bit of time before your wing cap runs out, but you do have to still be pretty fast. I'm actually going to be going on all 4 of the pillars here to enter the pyramid that are in the way, so that I can get to the top of the pyramid a lot quicker, because climbing up the pyramid is really, really slow. Here I'm going to try to put this crazy box on the top of the pillar here and get the third one. Alright. And I got all the coins for that, which is really good. But those are some interesting. You didn't get in my way. hopefully the game realized that I stood on top of all 4 pillars. If not, I'm gonna have to go back and see what it is. And it did. Alright, so 57 is how many coins I want to swing the pyramid. I'm not gonna need to get any backups unless I miss any inside the pyramid. I gotta make sure I don't fall here, or else that's a huge hurdle. And the camera here isn't exactly the best. So since I'm playing on the English version, I don't actually have to worry about a glitch called sound glitch, where if you create dust or like move in the wrong way immediately after collecting that 5th secret, then all in-game sound will mute, and any attempt to leave the course after that will actually crash the game. But since I'm playing the English version, I don't have to worry about that yet. Now I just gotta get the remaining 15 points from these blue coins here, and that will be 100. And then I can just quickly make my way back up through the secret star. So there's just 1 star left, and it's shining atop the pyramid. It's the shortest star in the level, and definitely the easiest. So this will be pretty self-explanatory here. Oh yeah, here's another way you can climb up slopes. So if you do a double jump and then have your second jump land on the slope, and then jump again, you can actually triple jump on slopes. Which makes climbing up then pretty trivial. Alright, so shifting sand lane was done. That actually didn't go too badly. Next up is Hazy Maze Cave, or HMC, and this is another really, really difficult level. So I'm going to start off with the 100 coin star, which I'm again going to be combining with the reds, but you pretty much need to go all over the course in order to get 100 coins in this level. And this is a very spread out level. That dive out there is really tricky. If you don't have the right angle, you just hit the fire and then you fall into the pit and die, and if you don't have enough speed, you don't make it all the way across. So right there, I activate the elevator, go over here, get these 2 red coins, and I'm going to try to back. Okay, I got the left grab. So I'm just going to kind of ride this elevator until I reach the next red coin, and I'm going to keep the camera pointed to the side to avoid lag. And I also don't want to rip that box. I'm going to try to make this long jump. There's a backup if I missed this. I got it. Now I'm gonna be coming back here to get the rest of the red coins, and at the end of this star. But right now I'm gonna go into the toxic maze here, just to kind of get this stuff out of the way and have to circumvent some RNG that could cause me trouble later. In a little bit, I'm gonna be going for my first backwards long jump. So basically, there isn't a cap on Mario's backward speed or negative speed when long jumping, and by performing multiple consecutive long jumps in rapid succession, like I'm about to do on this elevator here. You can do this on many different kinds of surfaces, but you can actually build up huge amounts of negative speed. I'm going to try to go for this here. Try to hook to this gate here. Oh, that's good. Nice. So yeah, if I did everything in the red coin room first, those last 5 coins would have been my last 5 coins before reaching 100, and then I would have had to collect the star and then deal with the rolling rocks. But using this route, I don't have to worry about the rocks at all. Alright, so here I'm gonna kill this Mr. I, and then run off the platform, which does kind of leave it up to luck as to whether or not I'll get good coin RNG. Hopefully the coin falls off the platform. I did not do the right camera move there, and the coin didn't fall off the platform. There we go. You have to get to that coin in time, or else it will disappear and it's gone forever. And then I would have had to get the other eyeball, which would have been really slow. Alright, so up next is a strat that I really should not be going for in this run, but for the sake of the marathon and because I want to, I am going to try it once. This is one of the hardest strats you can do in 120 star. So let's see if I can get this. I'll give it like one good attempt. That's what I think. Let's see if I can pull this off. I'm just going to kind of Let's just speak for itself. There's another BLJ. Alright, that looks good, and I made it. Nice. So that is the hardest strat you can do in 120 star. Or one of the hardest, anyways. Alright, very happy I got that. So, as you saw in that last star, there's not really any ceilings in this room, so you can just kind of jump over walls, like I'm about to do here. I have to do this a total of 3 times now. And this time I'm going to actually go all the way down to the underground cavern here. So now I'm going to head to Cavern of the Metal Cap to get the start here. Although, like I said earlier, I'm going to try to not actually press the metal cap switch. Because using this metal cap, it's actually possible to get all 8 red coins and the star before it runs out. You have to have pretty decent movement, but fortunately the movement here isn't too hard. Okay, I should still be able to make this. You have a little bit of leeway. There we go. So I didn't press the metal cap switch because I'm not going to need it anymore. So I hope you enjoyed the metal cap. Alright, so I got to do that one more time, that box jump one more time. And this time it's going to be for the star that's actually on the in the underground cavern. Got it. So that's the last time I'm going to have to do that, thankfully, because that's actually a pretty difficult strat, because it's such a tiny box. Alright, this star is pretty cool, because you're supposed to go through the toxic maze, find a secret exit, and then ride an emergency elevator and climb on mesh to get to the star, but I'm just going to do a triple jump walking from this room, and skip all of that. So yeah, although movement is kind of big in this game, the big tricks and sequence breaks you get to do in this run are also pretty big. You hardly do any of these stars the way you're. So here is the, I'm going to do Metalhead Mario Can Move next, and once again you're probably thinking I need the metal cap for that, but as it turns out, if you fall onto the switch, there's a good chance you can actually just hit it. And to do that I'm going to jump over this wall, because why not? So this should be good. Nice. If you missed that, there was a pretty easy backup for it. It's called the Christmas Miracle because it used to be believed to be completely random before it was understood, and if you got it, it was a Christmas Miracle. Alright, last star is Watch for Rolling Rocks. This star is relatively short. Quite literally, because you're pretty much going in one direction the entire time. There's a chance the rocks could bounce in weird ways, and you have to dodge them. Right now, it looks like I'm not going to have to. That might be a little close. Alright, another pretty good level. It's actually really, really good pace for me right now. So here comes a really difficult star. Yeah, that was hard. So here's Leave the Lava Land. Unlike the last 2 levels, this level isn't very hard. As long as you're careful. There's another star that's got a pretty neat skip here. Instead of actually riding the log like you're supposed to, I'm just going to fly over this fence. So I'm actually going to be collecting the first 4 stars here. Because I'm going to want the shell to spawn, and the shell only appears on stars 5 and 6 when you select stars 5 and 6. Which requires me to actually collect the first 4 stars here. And in case you haven't noticed, for the most part, whenever you enter a main course, you can do the stars in almost any order you want. Sometimes there are some stars that are act specific, and other stars you're going to want to do before others. But for levels like this, you can do it in almost any order. So right here, as I'm long jumping at this brown slope, I'm going to want to be holding Z because that'll allow me to jump dive off of it right away. It's actually a commonly trait in this game. Alright, I got the ledge drop skip. Make playing that bully easy. Alright, now I'm going to do bully the bullies. I'm going to be doing kind of the same movement, but once I get to where the big bully is, I'm going to kind of branch off to the right a little bit so I can take on the place that is not good. Now I have to make, I can't fall in the lava again. So I'm going to try to take all three of these bullies out with just one move, and I go. Alright, this is going to be interesting. And goodbye. Alright, so that was pretty sloppy, but thankfully I didn't die or fall into the lava a bunch of times. That can easily snowball if you let it. Now I'm going to do the 100 coin star, and I'm going to be doing it with hot-footed into the volcano. There are actually enough coins outside the volcano to get 100, but there's 20 coins you can get by just climbing up the volcano normally, so it's better to just get 80 of the coins outside here. And I'm going to get all of them while riding the shell, because the shell allows me to traverse the course really fast. Oh, okay, that is not good. Alright, so I'm actually going to ditch this star, and that's actually why I saved the other volcano star for last. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. And trying to get all 80 of those coins outside the volcano is... Oh dear, that's not good. That was unfortunate, but fortunately once you die in the volcano you respawn back in it, so that's not a huge thing. But this is not. There we go. So I'll get to try that again now. That was a very unfortunate mistake. Because getting the 80 coins I need outside the volcano is really, really slow if you don't. So I got lagged there because one of the eyes on the other side of the course decided to turn towards me. And that causes lag, and it's kind of RNG dependent. Alright, so I should be good now, as long as I don't accidentally get anything like I did there. Alright. Well, for a second I went the wrong way there, but I was able to get the eyeball's attention. You have to be making pretty much a direct eye contact with the Mr. Eye in order to get its attention. Alright, so here's the 80 coins, and I just gotta get the remaining 20 by going up the volcano. It would actually be really bad if I died at this point, because it would put me back inside the volcano and reset my coin count. So I'd actually have to exit the level and then come back, which would waste a lot of time. But I didn't die, so that's good. There we go. That's it for the lava lane. So that was a very unfortunate mistake. That cost me quite a bit of time. It probably cost me around, like, I think the missing, breaking my shell, and then the death combined probably cost me close to like 40 seconds. That's fine. So I gotta catch a Nips again. So this second Nips is a little bit faster than the first, and I missed him. And he appears after 50 stars. The first Nips appears after 15. So the routing happens to work out to where I can just get this Nips now. And that's the last Nips I need to get. Now that that's done, I'm actually going to go ahead and head to the bandage cap under the moat. And I need to go through here because I need to pound the pillar so I can drain the moat. This level is pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I'm gonna clip a double jump so that I can try to triple jump quicker. Okay, so that movement technique I just did there is called a speed kick. You basically have to... You can do a kick with a high amount of speed if you hold neutral upon landing from something like a rollout, and then hold A and tap B at the right time. And you can kick while preserving your momentum, which is also good for starting triple jumps. Let's see if I can get this tech skip here. And nice, I got it. That's actually a lot harder to do than the wing cap one. And that's the last special cap I'll need. I'm going to go back here and exit course, which always takes you back to the lobby, regardless of where you do it from. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up a couple of the lobby stages I didn't do earlier. So this is Cool Mountain, or CCM. And here I'm going to go for a dive route to get all the way to the bottom of the area to get wall kicks to work. When you do a rollout, regardless of how far you fall from, you do not take fall damage. And there we go, quick and easy start. There are harder strats, but this is a marathon. I'm going to play it a little bit safe. Alright, next up I'm going to do the red point star. And this is another course where I don't do hundreds with reds. And this is a pretty fun star to do. There's a lot of cool movement you get to do. Perfect. Not perfect, but that was still pretty decent. It's very easy for that star to also go catastrophically wrong if one little thing happens. Alright, now I'm going to do the little penguin lost. This is another fast and easy star, but it looks really impressive. I'm turning the camera right there again to reduce some lag. In the Japanese version of the game, that star actually spawns above the mother penguin's head, which I think makes it a little faster to collect. Next up is slip sliding away. Here's a pretty big shortcut on the slides you can do here. Kind of drop off the right at the very start, and you can fall all the way to the end. I'm going to slide backwards into the door there. Alright, so the next star I'm going to do is the 100-coin star. I'm going to combine it with the big penguin race. There are 77 coins on the slide, which is exactly half the coins in this course, and you need to get most of the coins from the slide in order to get 100. So and since you have to ride this slide the entire way down for the penguin race anyways, it's better to just combine this 100-coin star with the penguin race, since you can get most of the coins on the slide. I'm going to be going for the fastest and also the scariest route here, where I enter the slide with 24 coins. And this makes it so that I can only miss one coin on the slide. If I miss more than one coin, that's really bad. So hopefully I do not miss more than one. I'm going to kind of try to focus for the start of this here. Alright, I already missed my one coin, so I can't miss any more. Alright, There's one more scary part to go through, and after that I should be good. Alright, we're good. That's a very scary start to do midway through a run. So here I have to wait for the penguin to finish getting down the slide, or else if I grab that star, it can push me off. Which I have admittedly done in runs before. We made it past that. Now hopefully I don't accidentally run past the star and run into the door. I did it. So the last star I have to do here is the snowman's lost his head. This is a somewhat brain dead star. Let's see if I bonk on the shoulder and dive. Alright. So there's a checkpoint midway down this slide that you have to hit in order for the snowman's body to keep following you. But then after that you can just kind of do whatever the heck you want, so I'm just going to jump off the slide here. I'll take the scenic route. And as long as I get by the snowman's head in time, then the body will reattach to the head. So here we go. And that's it for CCM. Yeah, not too hard of a stage, but there is some scary stuff about it. But thankfully nothing horribly went wrong. Also a pretty quick stage too. Now I get to go to a somewhat slow stage here, Big Viscount. This course should take me around 7 minutes to get all the stars in. Because a lot of the stars involve going around the mansion in a very roundabout manner. This first star I'm going to do, Go on a Ghost Hunt, is pretty scary. Especially this beginning portion here. It's very easy to do what's called a factory, where you fall into the lower portion of the mansion and you have to climb all the way back up. For some reason it's a verb in this context. This part right here is incredibly scary. Got it. Alright. So now I'm safe from falling down there, at least on this star. That was supposed to be a double jump, but I recovered it. Now, because I'm playing on the English version of the game, I can actually save a little bit of time in this section here. If I kill both of these dudes at the same time and then slide one away. I only get one text box here. And swag skill kick. So stairs are supposed to rise up after you kill that big dude, but you can just wall kick up to the higher level, which is what I'm going to do for pretty much every star, even though I have the stairs to my advantage. Alright, so next I'm going to do the 100 coin star. I'm going to combine this with the red coin star, and this is one of my favorite 100 coin routes because you get to go all around the mansion. You even get to go outside of it for a little bit. There's a lot of pretty cool movement here. So coming up is probably one of the scarier parts of this star. I'm going to get the vantage cap here. And now I'm on a time limit here because if this vantage cap runs out, I will not be able to run back through that bouquet. So I have to be pretty quick here. Alright. I actually got one extra. You have 2 extra coins out there, and I have 1 extra coin now, so that's fine. And I made it back in line. So the rest of this will be just kind of going around the mansion, grabbing coins from Booze and Mr. Eyes, and getting red coins. There's a lot of blue coins in this level. Blue coins give you 5 each. Here I'm going to activate both of the coffins after killing this eye here and grab both red coins from them before they go down. I like that there's one of those. I'm going to go off to the right a little bit here to manipulate this Boo into coming out faster. Now, coming up here, this is another place where I could potentially get a factory. I'm going to use this trapdoor here to fall from here onto where the last red coin is. And I didn't get screwed. Nice. So this last Boo is also a little bit scary. I'm going to play it a little bit safe here. That's 100 coin star. Now I just gotta make my way back to the main room so I can get the red coin star. And I'll be out of here. Alright, that didn't go too badly. Alright, so the remaining stars here shouldn't be too bad. Those are the two kind of scariest parts of BBH. So here, for this next star, I'm actually going to intentionally go down to the lower level of the mansion so I can get the booze in the merry-go-round. It's hard to see through that door there. So now I gotta head over and kill these 5 boos that are coming out of this portrait here. And that'll spawn a big boo. So the boos don't officially die until that puff of smoke appears, and if they hit a wall, then that puff of smoke will appear sooner. So by killing this final boo while facing that painting, that puff of smoke appears sooner, and the big one will spawn sooner. Alright, perfect. I was able to kill that final boo with the ground. I was able to kill that boo with that ground pound and keep the ground pound suspended in air long enough so I could be where the star is. Alright, next up I'll do eye to eye in the secret room. This is normally a pretty difficult star for casuals to do, because you have a time limit on the game here, but I'll make it look easy. You can sometimes bounce on the boo while it's inside the wall there. It's actually losing you time to do that, but it's pretty cool, so I wanted to try and show it off. But unfortunately, the boo was not in the right spot. Alright, just 2 more stars left in BBH. So here next I'm gonna do Secret of the Haunted Book. So you're supposed to go through a hallway filled with books that fly at you, and then solve a puzzle to move a bookcase so that you can get access to this balcony with a star on it. But I'm just gonna head to the other balcony and just jump to where the star is and skip having to do all that. Like so. In the DS version of the game, there's actually a glass wall there to prevent you from doing that. And the last star I'm going to be doing is Big Blue Balcony, which is a pretty scary star, and a tough one, another tough one for casuals to do. Once you get it down for speedrunning, it's not really that difficult. So here I'm going to ground pound this boo once, then punch it to get the second hit, and then I'm going to long jump onto the roof and slide into the big boo for my final hit, because when you slide into enemies, you can do damage to them. And we're out of BBH. That was actually a good BBH. That's my second sub-7 segment ever. Now, there's only 8 stars left before I'm able to actually go to the upstairs portion of the room. And that's 7 from DDD, or Dire Dire Docks, and 1 from Bowser the Fire Sea. So, almost done with the first, well, I guess you could say, portion of the run. So, first star I'm going to do in Dire Dire Docks is the 100 coin star, which I'm going to be combining again with the red coins. So for this star, normally what you're supposed to do is actually collect the submarine star, which will spawn Bowser with the Fire Sea, and then you can beat Bowser with the Fire Sea, and that will make the sub go away and replace it with a bunch of floating poles that you're supposed to use for the red coins. But while the sub is present, you can actually use the sub itself to get all of the red coins without needing to use the poles, which is good because the poles move very, very slowly. Unfortunately, this does make this one, a lot of the jumps are pretty difficult, so this is one of the more daunting 100 coin stars, especially for new warriors. Because mistakes here can cost quite a bit of time. And much like Jolly Roger Bay, this 100 coin star is very strict. You only have 1 spare coin, and I've already used it. And the submarine heavily lags the game, so I'm going to be using some funky camera here, funky camera angles here to keep it out of view for as long as possible. Once I actually get onto the sub, though, I have no choice but to deal with it. Oh, I swam in the complete wrong direction there. Here's where I'm supposed to. So now they get to the fun part of the start, and by fun, I mean somewhat terrifying. Up. This jump onto the front of the sub here is pretty hard because it's a very steep slope, so your jumps have to be near frame perfect in order to get up. Alright, got it. And this last triple jump dive is actually very difficult. And I got it first try. Nice. So now I have one more long jump to do, and then I'll be good to go here. There we go. Alright, good DDD 100. That was very good. Again, if you make mistakes there, they usually end with you falling into the water, and then you have to get back on the sub, which is really annoying. And it can usually cost a lot of time. So I'm actually going to split DDD into 2 segments, you could say, and have Fire C in the middle of the 2 segments. Just because after I beat Fire C again, the sub will be gone, so I won't have to deal with the lag from it. And that'll make it better for the other stars I have to get in that segment. So here I'm just getting the chest star. This star is another pretty simple one. I don't actually want to miss this star here because otherwise I'll swim behind it, and behind that star it looks like a wall, but it's actually a ceiling. And as I said earlier, ceilings move you downwards in water. So I would just like downward all the way to the bottom of the floor, and it would be very annoying. Now I'm going to do the submarine star so that I can spawn Fire C. So I'm on my way here. I'm actually going to go ahead and explain Fire C real quick. So midway through Bowser in the Fire C, there is a couple of elevators that operate on a cycle. And if I go fast enough for the first half of the level, I can actually make it past those elevators without having to wait. But I'm actually going to go for a strat known as Lava Boost early alleys, where not only do I get past the elevators without having to wait, but I actually get onto them using a Lava Boost. And that'll allow me to do some pretty fast movement, but you have like maybe a second of leeway in your movement throughout the entire level. Thankfully there is new movement now, which should make it slightly easier, but it's still very, very difficult. So hopefully I'll get to show this off. I've actually never hit 3 stars in a marathon before, so let's see if I can get this. So coming up is the new movement. Oh, darn. Oh, I choked it. Wow, that was really unfortunate. I meant to do a triple jump to get the walkings up that elevator shaft there. Oh, please don't die. Okay. You can get stuck underneath those platforms and you just get stun locked into oblivion. Okay, so now I'm not going to make early alley, so I have to wait here. That was very unfortunate. That was actually really good up to that elevator shaft. So this is normal cycle. And if I play nice, oh, I did not play nice. If you play nice there, you can get a good ending, or you don't have to do these lava boosts here. That was unfortunate. At least I made it through the level, though. So let's grab. Now I gotta fight Bowser again for the second key. So in terms of Bowser throws, this one is probably the easiest to make, but the worst one to miss. because if you throw Bowser off the stage in this, he'll actually land back on the platform and do this attack again, and you can't grab his tail until the platform's done tilting. Let's not miss this throw. I didn't. Second key, which will allow me to go upstairs. But before I can actually go upstairs, I need to get the last 3 stars in DDE. So the first star I'm going to get is the Manta Ray star. Due to a bug in the code, the visual orientation of these rings doesn't exactly match the physical orientation. So if I don't swim through these first 5 rings, it's very hard to accurately swim through the rings. Alright, I got it. Yeah. Thankfully, though, in 120 star, you have a couple backup stars you can do if you happen to mess that up really badly. Alright, the last 2 stars are in the area where the sub was. So I gotta swim all the way over there. Even though the sub's gone, I'm still going to do this camera turn here just to mitigate a little bit of skill in this section. So here's the other Jetstream star, and much like the one in JRB, I don't actually need to look out for it. Oh, let's drag that first here. Okay, so that's a pretty big time loss there. Now I can swim all the way down to the Jetstream. The star is harder. Oh gosh. The star is harder to get than the one in JRB because it's at the base of the Jetstream. There we go. That was really unfortunate. That probably cost me around 10 seconds if I had to guess. Alright, one more. So here you're actually supposed to use both the metal and the bandage caps to get inside the cage, but you can just kind of use the bandage cap without needing the metal cap. Alright, and that's every star in the lobby and basement portions of the game. Now all that's left is the upstairs portion, which is way faster paced. So this is a 108 2x up. Right. Mid 108 up is not bad for a reset list for me, considering the mistakes I've made so far. So this first level, Wet Dry World, has an interesting gimmick where, depending on what height you enter the painting at, will determine the initial water level. So for this first star, I'm actually going to enter as high as possible because I'll have the water level at the highest it can be. And that allows me to get inside this cage easier. And it saves time to do the start first because of castle movement. So there's 3 different heights that the water level can be at. For most of the stars after this, I'm going to enter on the lowest water level. And for 1 star, I'm going to enter on the medium water level. So I'm going to use this bandage cap here to help me get through the cage there. Pretty simple stuff there. Alright, so up next I'm going to be doing the 100 coin star. In 70 star you normally see the star done with the secrets, but in 120 star you actually get about half the coins you need in the downtown portion, or in this portion of the level, and then go downtown to get the red coins. I do need to get every coin in this first section, though, and there is a very tricky jump to get into the height, since the water isn't raised here. Alright, coming up is that tricky jump I was alluding to earlier. So here's the last instance of big swimming in the run. There's still gonna be a couple more instances after this one. We're gonna enter water, but never for very long periods of time. I have to get a good majority of the coins in this downtown portion. That was really good. So right here I'm going to attempt something called a star dance clip. So when Mario grabs the star, he enters a state where he'll automatically grab onto ledges. However, instead of entering the ledge grab animation, he just pops right up onto the ledge. So I used that to make getting up there a little bit quicker. That was a really good 100. And the reason why that's better for 120 stars is because the secrets by themselves are really, really fast. And whereas red coins by themselves are really slow. I meant to wall kick there. So I pressed A at the wrong time. Yeah, I only have a 5-frame window when you bonk on a wall to wall kick. Yeah, that end is kind of annoying. The angle required for this long jump is a little precise and hard to get sometimes, but I was able to get it. So for this next star, I actually am going to go for a somewhat precise side flip triple jump wall kick to get on top of the elevators a little bit quicker. It saves only about 3 seconds and loses quite a bit of time if you miss it. Ah, I didn't get it. I'll go up for, I'll go for 2 more times. There we go. That probably about broke even with just doing that star the wrong way. And instead of riding that elevator, I can just wall kick up the shaft. Because that's faster. Alright, so next is the star that, next is the only star I'm going to do on the medium water level. So this star should also go by pretty quickly. That is a garage if you can hear it. I meant to bounce on that speeder, but I didn't do that long jump correctly. Alright, one more star, and it's shocking arrow lifts, which there's like 5 different ways you can skip having to ride the arrow lifts, but this is probably my favorite one because Nintendo overlooked it so heavily. So there's this teleporter right here that takes you to where the cannon is, but right below it is where the star is. So yeah, good game design by Nintendo. So that's it for Wet Dry World. And next up is Tiny Huge Island, or THI. This is a level with 2 entrances to it. One takes you to the tiny island, one takes you to the big island. I'm always going to take the one that takes you to the tiny island. Because the one that takes you to the huge island is too far away. So here's a secret. This is another pretty good defensive star. This last jump is pretty scary. next is the 100 coins. Another 100 coins, what I'm going to do with the red coins. This is, I'm going to start out in the tiny island here. But I'm only going to get a few coins here, and then I'm going to head to the big island. And one of the coins I'm actually going to get here is a coin underneath the floor. Don't worry about it. Okay, this is really good. Alright, that's not too bad. Okay. Get behind this, thank you. That was a little slow. I didn't get the coin that was hidden underneath the floor, but don't worry about it. So I'm ground pounding these big Goombas because otherwise they give you blue coins. If you just jump on them normally, they only give you yellow coins. And it kind of makes a big difference. Coming up is another pretty big RNG section here. This fly guy and like teacher here really don't like to cooperate. And also their coins have to cooperate. That was actually pretty good RNG right there. And only one of the coins went into the water. But thankfully there's two backup coins. Down the shoulders. Oh, okay, that's not good. Thankfully there's a way you can get back up. If you don't suck at the game. This is actually a really difficult jump. Nice. Alright, now we got the cave, which is definitely the scariest part of this entire star. If you fall here, you lose about 2 minutes. If that looked scary, that's because it is. Those dive rollouts are not easy. Thankfully, we didn't die. Unfortunately, that star was still pretty sloppy. But we're out of it, and that's all that I can ask for. Okay, for this next star, I'm going to do a clip through a very steep floor, because steep floors have very thin hitboxes in this game. And then I'm going to, when Mario enters a body of water, he's programmed to appear at the surface of it, regardless of where it enters it from. Ah, I didn't get rid of there. I'm going to go ahead and try it again here. Okay, so I accidentally... Okay, do not fall off there, please. I accidentally flipped back out because my positioning was bad, so I'm just going to go ahead and get the stars to back up. What I'm trying to do is stay below that floor there so that I can swim into the entrance zone to Wiggler. Also, you can kind of let drop to the floor there. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay, I was not expecting that to work. That was not what I meant to do, but that worked, so I'm going to go with it. So here's a Wiggler. You just got to bop it 3 times in the head, and you'll be done for. And that's the last stage boss I have in the run here. Alright, just 1 star left. It's the Piranha Star. Oh, not 2 stars left. One of which is the Piranha Star here. This star is relatively straightforward as well. There's 5 piranhas here, and you gotta execute all of them. And try not to fall off, because that is very, very bad. And I didn't leave them out in my run recently. I am not next to the star, never mind, I am. Alright, last star is the rematch with Koopa the Quick, because he wants to try to prove himself to me once more. And I'm once again going to show him that he sucks. And he doesn't live up to his name, but I'm going to do so by using the shell of his brethren. So, instead of going to the left like I'm supposed to, I'm actually going to fall down to the beach over there and steal this guy's shell and just kind of ride this all the way over the finish line. And again, this just allows me to finish the race a little bit quicker because, again, the faster you finish the race, the faster you'll finish. And you can finish the race a couple seconds faster by doing that. Also, it's possible for Koopa to fall off the course here, but it's really rare. So thankfully that didn't happen. Alright, unfortunately that was not a very good PHI segment. I lost about 25 seconds to a really good segment. Okay, so we're out of there, thankfully. Next up is Tall Tall Mountain. Another really, really scary stage. But first, we have another really difficult Toad Star. Yeah, I know, it's very, very impressive. So for these first 3 stars, I'm going to be going for a similar steep floor clip that you saw me do on PHI. And I'm going to be using the same water upwarp physics to skip half the mountain. Alright, I got a first frame wall kick there, which allows you to maintain all the momentum you have going into the wall kick. And basically saved me from possibly falling to my doom there. Or not to my doom, but falling down the mountain and losing a lot of time. So I have to do that 3 times in a row. Alright, this next star has an interesting glitch you can do with your Kiki once I get up there. Okay. I got my long jump eaten, that's no fun. I probably shouldn't have been going for anyways since my stomach was messed up. So I'm just going to do this as a backup. There's a couple of good backups if you fall down there. That wall kick is incredibly risky to go for. Okay, so that flag I got my way. I'm just going to play it safe for myself for that. So here comes the Yukiki glitch I was alluding to earlier. So I'm gonna grab Yukiki here. And he's gonna ask me to free him, and I'm gonna say hold on. I'm gonna jump onto the slope here. And now I'm gonna say free him, but he's gonna stay in my hands, which will allow me to jump off over here, ground pound, and skip about half of him walking over me. So he's already ready to go. Oh, okay. I timed my jump there improperly, otherwise I wouldn't try to ground pound. I was thrown off by the fly guy somehow being in that position, which he never usually is. Alright, so now I gotta climb up the mountain one more time. And then I should be out of the woods. Flushed out with another bursty. Now we're done with the mountain stars, thank goodness. So next I'm going to do the 100 coin star, again with the red coin star. But this is going to be an interesting 100 coin round. There aren't actually enough coins to complete to get 100 coins without going on the slide. So what I'm going to be doing here is collecting a good number of coins outside the slide, and then I'm actually going to be collecting a bunch of coins on the slide, and then I'm going to finish the star out here. This is very difficult to do. And thankfully the star will stay spawned if I leave and exit the slide. This wall kick is a little annoying. Yeah, it's very hard to get that first try. Alright, so here on the slide I'm going to go for a trick called the CF glitch. So when you enter first-person mode as you're running, you kind of skid to a stop, and if during that skid you go on a really slippery slope like that, you will slide forward with potentially unbounding speed, which allows me to save a little bit of time during the start of the slide. So I actually just missed one coin there. Hopefully that's the only coin I miss on the slide here, because I want to actually leave the slide with 99 coins. There are a bunch of extra coins I can get if I happen to miss more than that, though. Right now this is looking good. So my last coin is just going to come from a bot bomb that's right next to the red coin star. I would like to not fall off. I'll play it real safe here. Alright. That coin tried to fall off the edge there, but I was able to snag it just in time. But fortunately those other two ball bombs are good backups. So I'm going to kind of take an awkward approach to this star here. Alright, so now for the last star, I'm going to go for a trick called Breezeless, which is actually very difficult and very complicated to explain. Basically, I'm going to use a one-way wall from a fence to try and push me inside the mountain, and then ground pound to flip into the star compartment where the slide star is. If I had waited longer to ground pound, I probably would have made it. So I'm just going to use the breeze and jump down into the star compartment. That was not a good TTM. This upstairs has not been terribly good so far. So that's it for TTM. And now it's time for Snowman's Land, which is another fast-paced but also very challenging level. This first star, Snowman's Big Head, is pretty impressive looking if done properly. So yeah, there's only a very small part of that bridge you can wall kick off of, and the rest is ceilings, and Mario cannot wall kick off a ceiling because it's not a wall. Alright, next star, Into the Igloo, is one of the most annoying stars in the entire game, in my opinion. This triple jump is actually really annoying, and the camera in this igloo is so bad. And also, there's a bunch of walls everywhere, so it's having good movement here is not easy. That was not optimal, but I'll take it. Alright, this next star is a pretty good example of how speed kicks are really useful for starting triple jumps, since they have a set height. Ground pound into work. If you manage to catch your ground pound right on the box, you can save a little bit of time with that strat. Well, that was still pretty decent. Alright, now it's time for the 100 coin star, and this is probably one of the worst 100 coin stars in the entire game because we have to deal with a lot of enemy coins, specifically from these money bags, which are terrible. They will have to have their coins just fly all over the place. That was bad. I lost 2 coins there. There's a chance that one of them might come back. Yeah, fat chance. That was actually pretty bad on me because I missed 2 coins. Please enter the igloo. Thank you. You might kill an extra game here in this trade. I would like that anyways. Again, camera here. I would have killed this guy anyways. I mean, that extra one is very helpful. Okay, that's not good. So I would like to not have to kill any extra enemies, so I have exactly enough points where if I don't miss any more for the rest of the star, then I won't have to do that. Alright, and I have one more money back to deal with, And if any of the money bags coins go into the water, they will disappear forever. So I also don't want to lose my shell here, or else these 2 red coins are... That 7th one especially is very difficult to get without the shell. It's doable, but barely. That was okay-ish. Now there's just 2 stars left, and they're both pretty short and pretty easy. There we go. Yeah, that star was difficult. This next star is another joke of a mini-boss. Because I'm just going to slide into the chill bully and push him right out of the ring. Yep. And there we go. Now all that's left to do is the tippy top floor of the castle. So we're pretty close to the end of this run here. So the first stage I'm going to do, and this portion of the run, first of all, is also very difficult because mistakes here become very costly. It's very easy to fall in these levels since they're all so vertically based. So this first level, Wing Mario Over the Rainbow, is not a very hard level, but you do not want to fall here. Because if you fall here, you will fall all the way outside the castle, and you have to spend like 30 to 40 seconds getting back up, which is not fun. Again, fortunately, this star is not terribly difficult, and you spend most of it flying in this place. This is actually the only star in the game where even with cats, it's not possible to do countless and cannonless. I'm going to try to do this all on one wing cap here, which I have plenty of anyway. So as long as I don't, like, horribly mess up, then I'll be fine. This last red point can be a little tricky to get, because you want to grab it without grabbing the pole. And I did it. Alright, so that was a good wing Mario Over the Rainbow. Or Cloud Stage, as a lot of people like to call it. Because they don't remember the name of that course ever. Right, now we've got the first of the difficult tippy stages, Tick Tock Clock. So depending on what time you enter the minute hand at, the moving parts of the clock will be doing different things. On the 12, they're all frozen, which I'm going to use for the 100 coin star, which I'll do first. And then I'm just going to kind of let you watch this, because it's a very movement intensive star. I actually meant to left ground there. I think this backup's not too hard. Other than that one missed jump there, that was still pretty decent. But it's not over yet. I have to get up to where the stomp on the Swamp Star is. Alright, those wall kicks are easier said than done. So for the next couple stars, I'm going to be entering with the moving hand near the 9, which will cause all the moving parts to be moving at a fast speed. And this will allow me to do something pretty cool at the start of the level here. Yeah, that triple jump wall kick onto the spinners and then the other triple jump, that's only possible on the fast setting. I'm going to be doing that a total of 3 times. Here comes the second attempt at it. So I'm going to do time jumps on moving bars next, and this is to put off star 1, collecting star 1 for as long as I can, so that, again, I can maximize the amount of times I get to do that fast bendy tech I explained earlier. And I want the clock parts to be frozen for this star, so that's why I waited for the minute hand to get to the 12. That was unfortunate. Alright, one more moving star to do. If I can get that, then I should be good to go. There is a good backup if I miss this. Alright, there we go. So last star I'm going to get is red coins, and I'm also going to do this with time stopped, just because it makes it a lot easier and faster. You can actually do res with time moving if you happen to miss one of those triple jump wall kicks there, but that is not ideal. Yeah, that triple jump that I went for there is actually very hard. Oh boy. Get up there, please. Yeah, falling down these spinners is never fun. That was really unfortunate. So now there's just one more main course left, and that's Rainbow Ride. First, we have one more really difficult place star to get. So this first star in Rainbow Ride, I'm going to go for a trick called like T2 bounce, where I'm going to manipulate a like T2 to move in a certain way to allow me to bounce on it. Climb up this ramp to get this pull here. And using some conveniently placed geometry right here, I can skip all the carpet rides for this first star. I actually have to do that twice because I'm also going to do that for the cannon star that I have to do later somewhere over the rainbow. But I'll be saving that for a little bit later. So now it's time for the 100 coin star, and I believe this is the longest star in the game. So, let's see what I got here for this flyby. And I got terrible energy. Okay, I barely made that. That jump is actually really scary. Okay. Alright, I missed a coin from that like feature there, so I'm gonna have to kill a bomb after I get all the red coins in this maze here. Optimally, that shy guy would have given, that fly guy would have given me both of its coins, and I would have been able to skip a red in the maze here. Don't fall off, please. I hate to break it to you guys, but I am not going to be going for carpetless because, yeah, I think it's kind of obvious to why. So I am going to have to ride the carpet, which is about a minute and 40-second long auto scroller. After I do this difficult jump. And yeah, here we go. So there is a way to skip riding this carpet and collect the star without the carpet, but no. It is definitely not RTA viable. It's barely humanly viable. Only one human has ever pulled it off once, ever, on console without any tool assistance. And yeah, it sucks. It's a very complicated strat. It would also require me to do the 100 coin star with a different star. So instead, you just get to peacefully ride this carpet, which is actually a good thing because this is a very nice breather from all that constant action you have to be doing in the run. I was supposed to go into Mario Cam there to reduce lag, but I forgot to. Oh well. Alright, so I'm going to stand at the front of the carpet, and then after I grab these last 5 points, I'm just going to pop right up into the star. Not over yet, though. I still have to actually collect this star, and falling off, missing the carpet here, or falling off at the very end here, and you do not want to do it. Fortunately, if you're careful enough, it should never happen. And I'm probably going to, if I say that, I'm probably going to miss this right now. Alright. That was a bit of an awkward angle, but it still worked. So we're good. And now I get to do, like, feed to bounce the second time now. There are a couple backup stars if you miss this, but ideally you would just get it first try. So let's get it first try. Let's get it first try. I just gotta make this cannon shot here, and I should be good to go. Lakitu tried to knock me out of the air. No success. Alright, so now we're good with Lakitu bounce stars. Thankfully. I never have to do that trick again. This next star I'm about to do, tricky triangles, I can easily die twice within the first, like, 10 seconds of the start. So, again, let's just not die here. That was a very bad angle. So I'm going to do a swing into the breeze here as a backup. That was a very bad angle for that long jump there, so I ended up missing the donut blocks. Alright, I'll try that again. There we go. That was much better. There we go. That's how you do that star. Alright, last star is the red coin star, then I will be done with Rainbow Ride, and I will only have 1 star left. This runs about 3.5 minutes away from completion. That was an interesting thread there. Alright, so to give an idea of what pace I'm on, if I tie my gold in bits, I can barely edge a 146, but this will probably be like a low 147. So now it's off to Bowser in the Sky, the final level. And here we actually get to collect the red coin star. that first red coin, you're supposed to push that block, but you can just get it other ways. For the most part, this level isn't too interesting. I'm gonna go for a side double this time here, and I did not quite get it. It doesn't take that much time anyways. So when you grab onto the bottom of a pole like that, you're actually not able to grab the bottoms of poles like that. You have to press B on, I believe it's 2 consecutive frames for, like, in order to get Mario to grab onto the pole like that. And then now here's the final red coin, and this will be the final star. Unfortunately, this will not be a 146, it will be a very low 147. So there we go, that's all 120 stars. All that's left to do is Bowser. So now I gotta throw Bowser in the bomb 3 times, and as many people who have watched speedruns of this game know, this is a terrible part of the time. So hopefully I won't miss any throws here. Alright, that's 1. That's 2. Ah! Almost. Ah! That's also not good. Yeah, you have a very small frame window to actually cut behind these. So what I just did there is took it. I saw that I had touched Bowser's tail, and there's a thing in this game where if you touch Bowser's tail, it sets a flag to where if you're within a certain vicinity of Bowser and you press B, you'll automatically grab his tail. Okay, time's coming up when I touch the star, Grand Star, so get ready for that. And time. My timer says 1:47:33. That's actually a marathon PB for me by almost 2 minutes. So, my PB is a 1:45:51, and the world record is a 1:39:15 by Cheese. So, hopefully you all enjoyed that run. This will be my last run for the event, so thank you all for watching, and thanks to Speedruns Rochester for having me again, and I will throw it back on over to the host.